it dawned on me, this implant dentistry is about giving people back all of life's moments. So as they go through life, small, medium, large moments are for those who don't have to think about their teeth. But if you have to think about your teeth, those moments aren't there. And so I want to dedicate my life to helping my patients and a team rally around the cause of making sure everybody lives fully every one of life's moments.
Welcome to Community Conversations, a podcast for general practitioners and specialists at dental practices who are focused on growing the practice of implantology. In each episode, we cover trends and advancements in implantology, the challenges facing practitioners, and share experiences from Modis Dental Partners' multidisciplinary practices. Ultimately, you will gain insight into your growing practice. Let's get started.
I'm very excited to introduce Dr. Grant Olson. He is the founder of Innovative Dental in Springfield, Missouri, and our newest partner at Modus. Dr. Olson is passionate about giving people brighter and healthier smiles through the latest technology in implant dentistry. By focusing his entire effort in full arch implant dentistry, Dr. Olson and his team are able to provide patients with premium full arch implant smiles. Through the use of patented technology and techniques, what used to take an entire day is often completed in under an hour by Dr. Olson and team. Innovative Dental has its own in-house full arch implant prosthetic lab, which further improves the patient experience. Dr. Olson's YouTube channel has received over 23 million views and has 134,000 subscribers. He is a KOL for Chrome Guided Smile, where he has had the pleasure of training many other offices. In his spare time, he's a committed father and husband. He loves to ski with the family, barbecue, and is very active in church. I hope you enjoy our wide-ranging conversation with my friend, Dr. Grant Olson. Good to have you. I've been excited to have this conversation for months now. So I'm glad to have you on. I think that our audience is going to be so excited to know more about you, to get to know about the partnership that you've made with Modus recently. And, you know, you were one of the people actually that encouraged me the most. I kind of thought this podcasting thing was crazy. But you had said we listened to it and it gave you a feel for the kind of people that you were considering partnering with.
Right.
And man, that gave me a lot of motivation to keep leaning in. And so with that, I'm super excited to have this chance to talk to you.
Me too.
Well, I love to start at the beginning. And, you know, I think this is the best place to start with you as well. Can you mind just sharing with me a bit about your upbringing, your childhood?
Sure. Absolutely. Well, I don't have a rags to riches story. I was blessed with amazing parents. You know, God gave me some loving parents. They were there. My dad made every one of my basketball games and baseball games, and they invested heavily in me. So from that perspective, the joke I've told people when they've asked me about my success as a professional in dentistry, I tell them, I said, if I didn't succeed in life, it would have been all my fault. I didn't have anybody to blame. So great upbringing. I loved playing sports. You know, sports taught me a lot. And, you know, I was involved in my church. Faith has always been a solid bedrock of who I am and grown into. And so, but no, I grew up in Springfield, Missouri, and moved here when we were 4.
Okay.
Went to dental school in Kansas City, came back to my hometown, just felt right. I have family here. Met my wife here at church. And so this, you know, area has a special place for me. And obviously I love the patients here. And when we're blessed to help people from other locations that travel to see us. So, but yeah, no, upbringing was pretty smooth. You know, I, like I said, sports outside, loved playing in dirt, all the good trucks and stuff and all that. So yeah, that was me.
Sounds familiar, man. I joke around that I grew up in the Asian Brady Bunch. Just had a loving, supportive family.
Yeah.
And they had very blessed to be brought into this world by people that cared so much,
Yep.
and a community of people really that helped raise
Yeah.
me as well. So, growing up as a kid, key influences in your life.
Yeah. So key influences, definitely my dad. He was a solid, loving, supportive father, always there to have conversation. Really never saw the guy lose his cool.
Mm,
Something he taught me very early on. And, just, some things are taught verbally and some things are taught
yeah,
just by the observation. I mean, you don't realize it as a child, maybe you're learning something, but
yeah.
reflecting back on it, I go, yeah, that's one thing I really learned from him is don't lead with emotion. Be
Mhm.
careful to react. Be patient with people. I saw that lived out in his life towards our family, towards myself, towards other people that may have wronged him, or So it's just such a joy to have that, and such an encouragement to have that as a literally my earthly father figure. Also, I think it's kind of funny. I mean, we you kind of maybe grew up remembering this, but sports. I told you I played basketball. Michael Jordan was an influence.
Mm,
He was a role model. I look at what we see in sports today and his attitude when he was in basketball and the NBA. Seeing his behavior on the court. I don't know him personally. I don't know all the ins and outs, but
yeah.
I would say the way he led his team, the way he strived to be excellent, his attitude towards success. He had I remember one game. A good example would be you see him nail shot after shot, just leading. I think he even had the flu that night. I can't remember if that's the exact game,
I know
but
the
yeah, he nails a shot with a guy right in his face. Perfect defense. Guy couldn't have done anything better. And he looks at the camera and he goes, like, and I think that's such a great example of just great humility and being a role model. He didn't go, pounding his chest and acting like
mm,
he's all that, even though everybody could see he's all that. So there's a role model there too. So as a young kid playing basketball, that was enjoyable too, and monumental in my understanding of who I wanted to be as a leader in a team.
yeah.
Yep.
Amazing work ethic too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, growing up, did you always know you wanted to be a dentist?
No, absolutely not. I had nobody in the family. I was a dentist. So,
Yeah.
I went kind of the safe route. My dad was an accountant, my brother was an accountant, and my cousin was an accountant. And
Hmm,
they all, my dad even taught accounting, and so he's a doctor of accounting. So, it was a pretty straightforward, fairly easy, path to go into accounting. I understood math. I liked it. I liked
yeah.
business. So it wasn't like a total out left, in left field, but
Yeah.
at the same time, getting into my 3rd year in accounting, I was just not passionate. I could see that, wait a second, this isn't who I was made. This wasn't what I was made for, right? Kind of
Yeah.
you're going, God gave me a certain propensity for certain things. I mean, I love technology. I love
Yeah.
people. Accounting, it's harder to find a niche where you get to fully interact with people all the time.
Yeah.
And I need that. That's just a personality trait. Sales, I love convincing people on my way of thinking or whatever I am selling. I like that concept. I like encouraging people and galvanizing them around what I think is maybe best for them. And so, that component made me feel like maybe this isn't the right route. And so, yeah, through undergrad, I was going, I'm gonna not really thrive as an accountant. And so, my cousin actually happened to have an opportunity to leave accounting after 9 years to go take over his father-in-law's practice, and he just kind of planted the seed. I thought about dentistry very little, maybe a few years before getting into undergrad. He planted the seed again by going, "Hey, I've been doing this accounting thing for 9 years. I know you.
Yeah.
You're probably not going to be thrilled and excited about this profession for who you are, and you might want to look into something else." And he said, I'm going back to school for dentistry. You got to check it out." So that seed plus some travel. I don't know. The story I like to share with that is, if you remember, we didn't have cell phones growing up. And so road trips were like constant just daydreaming, looking out the window, watching the trees fly by and thinking about stuff. Well,
Hmm.
I remember my 3rd year of undergrad, thinking the whole trip. It was an 18-hour road trip. I mean, it's a long time to be in a car thinking about your
Yeah.
future. And I just go, I'm going to look in. I felt really like I should be looking into this dentistry thing over that trip. I found out that I wasn't, really made for this accounting world. And so started looking into it when I got back from that road trip, found out that, technology, people, entrepreneurship, charting your own course, all exciting things to me. And so I switched my major. I still finished my accounting degree, and I'm thankful for that. But dentistry is ever since that point. And I didn't even, know what dentistry really has to offer before at
Yeah.
that point, right? But at that point, I have fallen in love with the profession, the people in it, and what we get to do for them. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
So just because of the conversations we've had in the past, I do want to take
Mhm.
a quick detour.
Sure.
Can you talk to us a little bit about your experience in sales
Mhm.
and how that's influenced
Sure.
your life and trajectory?
Sure. Well, so I mean, there's a number of things that, the entrepreneurship aspect of
Yeah.
things, but I used to sell in Best Buy, right? Worked there for a while and loved technology, loved learning how to help people navigate their technology decisions. I
Yeah.
felt like they gave me great training to ask the right questions, help place them with the right product. And so I enjoyed that, the science behind all of that. And
Yeah.
so, later down the road when, I don't know if I've ever told you this, but when we were in dental school and I found myself, studying for my second round of exams, which were the ones that I was the most terrified of, because the first round, you don't know any better. And then you
Right.
get hit like, hit right across the face and you're going, okay, I know better now. I got to be really prepared. And so second round of exams, I'm studying and, I'm looking down at my notes and I remember this shadow come to the doorway of my office and I can see it kind of there in the corner and it's not going away. And so I'm like, okay, I need to look up and see what's up. So I look up, I knew it was my wife. I look up and she's staring at me and I'm going, and she knew I was stressed. And she looking at me and she goes, by the way, I'm pregnant. And I'm like, you're kidding me. Like, this is not part of the plan. This is how I remember just going, she's going to kill me for sharing this, but it's just truth, right? I said, I don't know what to do with that right now. And that's all I knew what to say because we both weren't planning. And so I went on to study, and obviously we have an amazing 15-year-old daughter now. But the reason I share that story is it plunged me into a challenge that helped shape me. And that's that
Yeah.
we were broke already in dental school and now raising, a young baby, had no idea what we're doing, like every parent. And so I had to get creative. I had to search for something that would help me maybe take some of what I knew about sales and
Yeah.
maybe some of technology. And so I was able to navigate sourcing items for selling them on eBay. And so I started a eBay business while in dental school that supported myself through it. And I look back now and I go, what a great opportunity. I didn't think it was at the time. I thought it was an obligation, but what a
Sure.
great opportunity to learn, take what the skills I had, push them to the limits of, how do I market, sell, communicate to, customers. I was everything: customer service, allocation, sales, shipping. We did the whole
Right.
thing. I remember getting up at 5 a.m. and packaging and throwing it outside for the mailman before I went to dental school. Right. So, but I don't regret those times. I don't look back and go, man, I'm very thankful for
Mm.
those challenges that pushed me to use my sales experience and grow on it. And then obviously my love for people and technology. And it made me, I don't know, it just perseverance, right? You had to kind of fight through something and, being not knowing how you were going to pay your bills I think for all of us that probably have been there some point in our lives, most likely many of us, it's a very shaping time, very character building. And I'm thankful for those. Yeah,
I've heard that fear is a great motivator.
that's right. It sure is.
Yeah. I know I haven't told you this, but this
Uh,
I kind of need to share that I was still in the army, had put in my separation paperwork, and in between deployments, I was studying for the GMAT. And right before I left for a deployment, my wife and I went to Atlanta because that's where the testing center was, the closest one.
mhm.
And I was cramming the night before the GMAT. And my wife, we're at the hotel room, she shows me the pregnancy test.
Yep.
She's like, I'm pregnant.
So it hit you too, man. Okay.
The- and then the feeling of I've got it all on the line.
Yeah.
I can't mess this up.
Right.
Day 2 of business school, Lehman Brothers goes under. My wife and I are, we quit our jobs, moved to London to start this new life, and the financial crisis happens.
Wow.
And I remember feeling like, wow, did I make the right decision? Like, there's no turning back now. But in the same way, I don't think I would have had anything. I wouldn't change any of those events for what for the challenges they presented in front of me and the
Mhm.
opportunities that came about because of it. And
Right.
being able as a couple to rise to that occasion was great.
Yeah.
Didn't feel that way. I mean, I don't think I would have ever uttered the word was great in the moment,
Yeah.
but looking back on it, I would echo the same that you said. It,
100.
they
Yes.
were formative, and in many ways, you kind of missed those moments too because they were you. We came together and just like faced the challenge of life,
Right.
and it was amazing. So, any specific now that we're at this place, we've you've chosen that the profession of accounting is not for you.
Mhm.
Applied to dental school. You're in your second year. Just backtracking real quick, was there any specific thought behind the school that you attended?
So, I because of the accounting background, my sciences were not stout.
Yeah,
I didn't spend the last 3 years in sciences. I spent them in
yeah.
accounting. And so that switch was an interesting one because it's not the same side of the brain you're even using. So I remember switching my major, or not switching my major, but switching up my kind of like my direction, right, for
Hmm.
courses.
Yeah,
And I found out of this called early admissions, which allows you to, with a certain dental exam, they call it the dental admission test, the DAT. With a certain DAT score and GPA, you can get in within the state of Missouri without having going through the traditional interview process and
yeah,
application process. So it was a nice placement for Missouri
yeah,
residents. And so I looked into that. And at that time, it was a 17 on the DAT, and I think it may be a 3.8 or something on GPA. And so
mhm,
what's crazy about this, and I like sharing this because it shows, I think I can encourage people. You do not have to be the smartest person to be in any profession. I think there's a large component of work ethic, desire.
yeah,
You're going to put in the work, and I think part of that was a strength builder for me. I had to work a little
yeah,
bit harder, because I spent the last 3 years in accounting world, but my dental admission test was 17, and literally the lowest you could get and get into dental school with this reserved admissions. And then the
yeah,
next year they made it 19 as a requirement. So, God set me up for that. And, the preparation and the opening that door of being able to get in right before, I wouldn't have gotten into dental school. I wouldn't be a dentist to this day. I don't believe, if I would have 1 year later. So timing, which obviously we have no control over, was amazing
mhm.
with that. And so, yeah, then I got reserved admissions to UMKC up in Kansas City.
Got it.
Moved my brand new wife and I up there, and we, like I said, we made it about 4 months before finding out we were pregnant up there. So that's how it went. And then we
Yeah.
decided, why not? We might as well have another child while we're up here. We've already had one. It couldn't get much worse. No, I'm just teasing. So we couldn't be more challenging. Let's just go. We don't want them separated too far. So we had our second one, and then obviously we have our third child now here in Springfield. So
That's amazing.
yep.
And so graduated dental school,
Mhm.
moved back to Springfield,
Correct.
and did you jump right into practice ownership?
No. So my, I my in my life, I look back at, there's always a story that was like preparing me for something I wasn't aware I was going to have down the road, a challenge, and something that clearly stood out to me, or stands out to me now, as a dentist to this day, has been my first experience getting out of dental school.
Mm.
I had a brand new building that was built, from all intents and purposes, visually, a nice practice to go work in. And so from the appearances of things, this was a great opportunity to go be an associate and hopefully buy the practice within a 3 year time period. And so that was the plan. I joined the
Yep.
practice and realized pretty quickly that I didn't see eye to eye with the ethics, the leadership, the management of people, how the management of patients, the management of the team, lack of vision, or a mission, um, core values weren't really in place. So we never had meeting. For example, we never had a huddle, never had a meeting. Right? How do you organize if you never spend some time talking about why and what we do? And
Yeah.
so, but I got to see what it was like working in an organization in dentistry when none of those things were in place.
Hmm.
And it, and as an associate who has obviously at this point, I've owned practice and had up to 4 associates, being on that end of things, I learned a lot about what I didn't want to be treated like, how, how to be fair, what felt like clear and honest communication. And all of that was kind of tough at the time, but it
Yeah.
really instilled in me a lot of, I think, knowledge that I was able to apply when I had finally had the opportunity to become an owner of my own dental practice. And so, yeah, so that first year, I eventually, after the year of my contract was up, I left and I had an opportunity to purchase a practice on life support, I would say.
Yeah.
The dentist hadn't been in there in over 3 or 4 months. He was losing his license. The Missouri Dental Board was taking away his license, and so it was a really difficult, atmosphere, but, for whatever reason, I was extremely optimistic about what this place could be. I tease people, it's like I had the beer goggles walking into it, right? You see all this beauty and potential. Meanwhile, it's trash. There's no toilet paper. There's no paper
Yeah.
towels. All the equipment is dirty. I mean, it was one of those things walking into this office that I was about ready to buy, seeing potential that I don't think a lot of people would have seen.
Yeah.
And coming from where I came from, that set me up for that. So I'm super thankful for that opportunity. If I had had a pretty good experience right out of dental school, I don't think I would have looked at this potential purchase of what became Innovative Dental as the right move. So I'm very grateful for that experience because it was the right decision. So I bought this practice. It was literally, I'm not making this up. The practice I bought was going to a bank for basically repo on Monday. I came in the Friday before. I went and met with the banker and I said, "Hey, I'm going to come in and work this place for the next few months to see if I can get the lending to make this happen
Yeah.
and prove that we can keep this place afloat." And obviously, they're looking for any option to not have to take the loss, and that's what we did. So,
So
yeah,
so you purchased the assets of the practice ultimately.
yeah,
Mm.
purchased that and the building. And we didn't have a
Mhm.
traditional, handoff, right? I mean, most dentists would love to have the senior dentist to kind of help,
Yeah.
grease the wheels a little bit, right? Pave the way, encourage patients to stick around. This is the new doc and he's going to take great care of you. He or she's going to take great care of you. So we didn't have any of that. And then we even
Yeah.
had the really awkward stuff, which is every patient wondering what happened to their older favorite doctor. So we just had to say, hey, we wish them the best, had some health issues. Didn't want to
Mhm.
obviously dive into why the transition had to occur. So, yeah.
Now, did you inherit a team?
So we had the only person I inherited was the retiring doctor's wife. She was lovely, but obviously we didn't quite see eye to eye, and so long term wasn't going to work. But we made it work for the time we needed to. And I was very fortunate. A few of the team members that I'd worked with at the previous office, they made a very bold decision and decided to quit that job and come apply at our office. And, that was pretty risky of them because we were just getting started. I didn't have any promise for our future.
Mm.
Obviously, from an outside perspective, I don't think too many people would be too excited. Matter of fact, there was 2 or 3 other doctors who had the opportunity to purchase this office and turned it down. So I think, I was very grateful that some people that knew me a little bit, and matter of fact, a number of them work with me to this day. So yeah,
I was gonna ask.
yeah,
Some of them came over and they're
yep,
still with you.
correct.
If we can backtrack real
Sure.
quick to your year as an associate,
Mhm.
you had mentioned you learned a lot of lessons.
Right.
Um, mind sharing a handful of them?
Yeah, I think a few that I would say, like for example, a team with no clear cut directive becomes very self centered. Good people become
Yeah.
self centered. They're worried about their time, their hours, their what they have to do. They don't
Mhm.
have a why, right? They don't have a reason that's all aligned together. Even if
Yeah.
somebody does originally, because that's who they are, they want to take care of people. They don't have a group of people wanting to do all of that together. They feel left like they're the only one that cares. And I think
Yeah.
that was very prevalent in the practice. There was a number of very burnout people that I think at one point cared about improving patient care and providing better communication and services to our patients, but they'd been burnt out by lack of leadership and direction from above. So I learned pretty on that we better, if we're going to try to do anything well, we're going to have some direction and, regular conversation around systems and ways that we can align our culture to deliver exemplary service. And I think that I learned that early. Another one would be clear communication around finances from a patient perspective, right?
Hmm.
This office would just purely bill totally after the fact. We'll send it to insurance, you'll get a bill in the mail, and hopefully you can pay whatever bill you get, right? So there's
Right.
not this clear understanding of what the financial component of dentistry is. And I think that's very, I feel like in hindsight, what I've learned, I feel like that's pretty disrespectful to our patients. They work
Yeah.
hard for their money. They're asking us for a service. They should know in advance what they're committing to. And so they don't get surprised. And so that's a kind of an idea we've carried on in Innovative Dental is we're very clear about the financial aspect. We feel that's a big component to proper five-star experiences, right? When I mentioned about how to treat associates, keeping your word with the associates. So when you say you're going to do something, just do it. Also, if you're going to have, the opportunity to invest in them, uh, do it. It's going to help, invest in them for their skill, their growth, CE. That all is very, very valuable. We've tried to constantly at Innovative Dental make sure that all of our docs are equipped with what they need to excel, whether that's investment in CE, investment in equipment, and leadership. That's something that we are really want to be a part of to make sure the team is supported. Right.
Yeah.
So yeah,
One thing that I love about you and the practice, specifically to the associates, is you hire really talented, wonderful humans. And what I've seen from at least looking from a distance in is how you've allowed each of them to find their path in dentistry and their areas of interest, and then continue to pour into that. And we'll get to what it's become in terms of how Innovative has grown. But to me, I think that's part of your secret sauce is you invest in great humans. You love them. You treat them with a lot of respect and dignity. You give them the opportunities for them to find the path that makes the most sense, and they can grow in their God-given talents. And it's
sure.
pretty cool to see how it unfolds.
Thank. Yeah.
So I think we'll put up some pictures of your
Sure.
practice, because every time I show pictures of it, I have to make a caveat and say, this is really the practice that this is really the practice. Is not a fake picture. But we'll put up some pictures right around now. What I'd love to hear is, it sounds like you purchased kind of a business on life support,
Mhm.
practice on life support. When you bought it, you fell in love with it. Did you have any idea where Innovative would grow to
Yeah.
at that moment?
Not a chance, right? I mean, I think that's probably, there's no way I would have had any understanding that, really aligning with quality people,
Yeah.
setting a vision, a mission, and charting a course of really, I mean, I think what's interesting is yes, I want to show obviously the before of the building,
Yeah.
but the building is only a representation really of the internal culture of this practice. And
Yeah.
so the people at this beginning were already worthy of this amazing practice we eventually built, right?
Yeah.
We're worthy of that, but we just hadn't grown there yet. Our first meeting, I remember telling the team we had 3 people on the schedule in this office that were just started, right?
Yeah.
January 3rd of 2013. We walk in and I remember going, guys, what we're gonna do is we're gonna go in. I've never owned a dental practice. Our front office has never done front office. The lady who was filing insurance had never done insurance. The only person that had actually done the job, their full job, was our hygienist. And they didn't even have hardly any people on the schedule to clean their teeth. So they had to cold call patients to get
Right.
them in our first, few months. But during that initial time, I remember telling our team that very first day, I said, but I do know this. I said, we can go in and we can be incredibly over the top kind to people. I
Mm.
know it sounds silly, but what am I saying at that first time that we've evolved and understand now to be, we want to give 5-star customer service. There's lots of ways to
Yeah.
define that. And we've really, really defined that now. But in
Yes.
the beginning, it was just like, let's just be really kind. Because now when you go to a place like the Ritz-Carlton, they're essentially all of their five-star customer service there is associated around being kind to their guests. And so
Yeah.
if you start with something very basic and simple as a one focus, it's amazing how powerful that could be. So I say Innovative Dental started off as one idea: be over the top kind to our patients, treat them as we'd want to be treated. And I know that, like I said, that's not monumental, but it turned into something very monumental as we defined that over the last decade.
Yeah.
And so, we had a lot to learn. Systems obviously had to come around all of that to eventually develop a practice that could support this amazing facility that we work in now. But yeah, it's a story of people aligning around a vision of originally just being kind to people. And then now it's how do we accelerate this idea of just over the top 5-star world class service to people? Yeah,
Yeah. You want to share a couple examples of that? Wh-
sure.
one that I'd love you to share among many. What is it?
License to thrill.
License to
Yeah.
thrill. I
Yeah.
love that
So
idea.
yeah, we pride ourselves here at Innovative Dental on sharing and learning from all of our experiences outside of our office. And
Yeah.
this would be a good example of that. Ritz-Carlton actually has a policy that is given to everyone at the Ritz-Carlton. It's about, I think it's a $3,000 limit on customer satisfaction. So for any reason whatsoever, any employee of the Ritz-Carlton, doesn't matter who they are, doesn't matter what they do, they have a license or they're authorized to
Yeah.
use up to $3,000 to satisfy customer service for the customer. When you think about that, that's amazing. What the company is saying is we put people over money, people over profits, and we don't just
Mhm.
say it. We actually mean it because we've authorized these funds. It does a number of things, right? Right. It gives an incredible experience to the customer because they're
Yeah.
always heard and taken care of. But it also gives the team and the employees such a high level of buy-in,
Mhm.
literally, that they
Yeah.
understand that they can take care of people and they have money and resources to do that. And so, and in dental practice, one of the things I realized is we communicate a lot throughout the day. There's opportunity for better communication always. There might be some things that just don't go as planned, whether that's healing of teeth or our procedures we do, or communication about retainers or night guards, broken stuff. I mean, we can name it, right?
Yeah.
So, any of these nuances and let's just call it shortcomings, right? Whether it's a patient's challenge or a team's challenge or both. I think it's really we don't want to be pointing fingers anyways. The point is we want to take care of people. And so
Yeah.
I thought, okay, we've got to find a way to do something different and put money where our mouth is here and where our
Mhm.
patients' mouths are and take care of them. And so
Yeah.
our team now is authorized up to $500. They don't ever have to come talk to anyone to take care of our patients. This is, this is not abused by our patients. None of them know even. I mean, if they're watching now, they'll know, but they don't they don't abuse this. And what's
Yeah.
incredible is that our team just loves being able to take care of our patients, and our patients now get amazing service. Now, if you're a doctor wondering one of the beauties of this, right, is I don't get in a week's time, I might get 2 or 3 times where I got a team member coming up to me trying to explain a scenario, whether it's with the patient that's in the office or on the phone and asking what to do and how would you handle this? And once again, they're
Yeah.
trying to transfer all of this information to me that
Mhm.
really is now secondhand.
Yeah.
And I'm now being drawn into maybe a situation that's not as positive as we'd all like. And I'm trying to make a decision. I'm probably not going to make the right decision because I don't have all of the information. You just can't. You weren't there
Yeah.
at the beginning. And then now I'm being stressed with it. And so
Yeah.
now the stress doesn't keep dominoing through your team. You have
Yeah.
one person takes care of the patient. The patient has a much better experience, and the team member now doesn't spread the negativity, the challenge to multiple people trying to get a better decision. Plus, the patient now, I say, once you have to go to somebody else, hey, can I talk to your manager? Right. So once you
Right.
have to go to somebody else, you've already lost the opportunity for 5-star service. That now is going to be
Yeah.
less than 5-star because now you got to go get somebody else to approve what should just be something that is pretty basic. I think most patients feel like, hey, if you just hear me, just take care of me. And so now you have somebody that's not with authorization, go and finding a doctor or an office manager trying to get this approval. And now instead of a negative experience being, maybe a less than 5-star experience, what a patient is able to perceive is the heart of the practice in a way they wouldn't have perceived it if everything would
Sure.
have gone smoothly. So
Yeah.
now you take something that might be a 3-star experience, and now it's like they can't believe it. Wow, they do what they say they're going to do. They care about me. They're going to put
Mhm.
money. Oh, they're going to put me over money.
Yeah.
Wow. And so you take something that could have been a less than 5-star, and now it's a 5-star, right? Or
Yeah.
over the top.
Yeah.
So I say there's 2 times to really make the impression on a patient. One is the first time we meet them, right? The first impression's everything. That's why
Sure.
we know that's that statement that you can't,
Yeah.
there's only one shot at a first impression. But then there's another time that I think we often miss, and that's maybe where there might be some sort of misunderstanding, some sort of conflict, some sort of challenge to the relationship. And when we have that, especially if money's involved, there's an opportunity for the practice to shine, right? To say,
Mhm.
hey, we care about you so much. It does not matter. The money doesn't matter. You matter. And to put the patient once again first and give this 5-star experience in a what could have been a negative situation. So we kind of celebrate those moments, and
Yeah.
doing this idea of license to thrill is just a clever way of putting a phrase to our team's ability to take a experience and make it amazing that could have been less than positive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so empowering too as a team member if you hear over and over again that we're about five-star patient experience, we're about kindness, we're about loving on our patients,
Mhm.
and you don't feel that you operationally have the ability
Yeah.
to live that out. You
Mhm.
feel disconnect it feels like a disconnect in the
Mhm.
culture. And by by empowering every single team member to be able to live out the simple yet difficult to do five-star experience for every patient is amazing. And you can see it walking around the
Yeah.
practice, just the positivity that emanates throughout the building
Yeah.
and the smiles, everybody that I encounter from the moment that I walk through the doors, greeted with somebody with a big smile. And you can tell these are all people that are truly invested in the practice, that believe that everyone is aligned toward the patient experience and that they can make a difference every day. So it's very
Absolutely.
cool to hear. So I'm glad you're able to share some of that.
Sure. Yeah.
So you've done so much. And for those for the listeners that don't know Grant, I don't get any sense that you have any intention of slowing down. If anything, you seem to be accelerating. What motivates you?
I would say one thing that I'm trying to constantly improve on is
Yeah.
the sense of gratitude, the position that I feel like my creator God has given me
Yeah.
to serve people. And I can't think of another profession. I mean this wholeheartedly. I can't think of another profession that gets the opportunity to touch people's lives in such a dynamic way.
Yeah.
Especially those suffering with their smile and
Mm,
potentially being, in a denture or needing dental
yeah.
implants. These people are truly suffering with lack of hope. And, it affects every moment of their life. And even if it doesn't, you can't perceive it, it affects them.
Yeah.
And the the smile work we can do for them with dental implants, it goes so far beyond the smile, ability to eat, living life's
Mhm.
moments, being able to live longer lives because they're healthier,
Yeah.
make different life choices, work, who they're going to date, marry, associate with. All of
Mhm.
this is associated with their confidence. And it really comes
Yeah.
down to being able to have an amazing smile. And, so I think about the profession we're in and what we get to do. That level of
Mhm.
gratitude makes me want to rise to the challenge and go, what else can I do to take this always to the next level? What is shocking to me is that as much as I strive to find opportunity to improve, I you would think, well, man, I'm running out of opportunity. And it's exactly the
Yeah.
opposite. As I dive in and think about opportunities and things I can improve on, it's shocking how many things I realize I can do. There's just so much more ideas and opportunity to grow as a leader, as a dentist, and a communicator. There's just so much excitement around that for me. So I don't ever see an end in sight. It's why this profession is, in my opinion, everybody who's in it, whether you're a dental professional, like a dentist, neurosurgeon, periodontist, you name it, or a team member in the dental field, we get to do something that I think is life transforming. Really is. That phrase is thrown around a lot, transforming lives, but
Yeah.
we get to see that in our practice with dental implants every week, and I don't ever think that's going to get old for me. I pray
Mm,
it never does, and I try
yeah.
to keep that understanding that this is a real pleasure. I try to tell patients another thing in our podcast, or sorry, in my weekly webinar. I say,
Yeah.
it's an honor to serve you, and definitely a big part of that phrase is I mean it. But another big part of it is I want to never forget it.
Yep.
And so I think the repetitive nature of saying, I'm honored that you've allowed us to serve you, that phrasing, that idea around it, it's my pleasure to serve you. It helps keep this level of service and chasing the better 5-star care at the forefront of what we do and what I do in my opportunity as a dentist.
Do you mind sharing a bit of your journey professionally toward full arch dentistry? What led you to it? And
Sure.
I think you touched on what gives you so much passion for it. I'd be curious, and I think the listeners would be curious to hear about that journey.
Sure. So, I was pretty blessed to right out of dental school. I told you about the practice I started with.
Yep.
They did buy a piece of technology called the CEREC, right? So some of you may
Mm,
have heard that. And I found it fascinating that we could make restorations in one day and bond them in
yep.
same day and be controlled the whole process. And so I quickly wanted to learn how to do this with a smile, like veneers, right?
Yeah.
Create a same day smile with veneers. And so I remember doing my first 6 veneers on my grandmother-in-law, who every time I see her, I love you, Bobby, but I want to improve on them and she won't let me. But she was my first patient and she's like, she wanted to be my guinea pig. But I fell in love with the process of being able to use technology to instantly improve somebody's life. Right. And I was
Yeah.
able to do that with dentistry. What a great tool. And so I started learning and marketing to do more and more of that. I'm like, okay, I've got something here. I can do something that is unique. It's same day. It's designed by the dentist. It's delivered that day. No temporaries. And so I did many, many hundreds, if not thousands of those veneers and smiles.
Yeah.
Then the progression went to, I need straighter teeth. So I focused on Invisalign. I wanted to get a better bite and better. So I'm learning cosmetics and I'm learning bite, right? I'm doing all of these kind
Yeah.
of fundamental things you need to get into full arch. Then I added doing basic single implants and I used guided surgery to do this, right? Which is just basically pre-planning, trying to master the exact location of the implant and
Yep.
using a technology to try to deliver this impeccable level of detailed positioning. And so doing that with cosmetics and with Invisalign, I'm gaining a lot of, separate components that need to come together to be a full arch implant dentist. And so after doing a number of these, I'm like, okay, I want to take this to the next level. And actually, I got to be transparent. I had a patient that she's like, I've already trusted you. I know you can do this. I want you to do my upper implant screwed in prosthetic. And I'm like, okay, well, I've never done this. And she's like, I don't care. And I'm like, are you kidding me? She's like, I want you to do it. Go learn how to do it and I'll be your first patient. And I was pretty hesitant because I'm like, man, I don't know if this is the right path. I mean, yeah, I know how
Right.
to place implants. I know how to design a smile, but this is still going to be a leap. And
Yeah.
due to her persistence and faith, I did my first full arch. I'm not going to tell you it went very well. In the end, she has a beautiful smile. It was 12 or more visits. I learned the hard way, and
Yeah.
so did she. I think she has an amazing smile. Like I said, thank God. I love you,
Yeah.
Sheila. I won't use her last name, but she's got an incredible smile now. But she pushed me into full arch implant dentistry. And that was about 6 years ago. So about 4 years after owning Innovative Dental. And then I was like, man, that was tough. There's got to be a better way. So sure
Right.
enough, I went and took some training, and it was called Hybrids at the time, a great product, but
Yeah.
learned how to use their protocol, and I got a lot more in depth understanding on how to do dental implants. And then, there were still some things I wanted to tweak and improve. I kept studying and studying, and I'm like, okay, I landed on another technology that allows me to do it even better, I felt like, a little bit more efficiently for the patient, a little bit nicer result for the patient, immediate result,
Yeah.
right? And so it's just been this incremental love and passion for this full arch implant dentistry and what it can do to transform a smile pretty much, like I said, immediately. And now I can say after doing 600 or so arches of implant smiles, it's a repeatable process that's fairly predictable, that's transforming for the patient. It's an immediate result, and then obviously we can perfect the result through time as they after they heal. But I can't think of a transformation that's more monumental. One time I got to share this. This is an epiphany story for me because with veneers we think of a smile transformation. With
Yep.
implants we think of function. And so when you think of an implant smile, you think of cosmetic and function, so aesthetics, beauty, and ability to eat.
Yep.
But one thing that I watched a video of, scrolling through Facebook, and I landed on a video of a gentleman. His name's Brett Heiser. He's a patient of mine from about 5 years ago. And so I'd probably done a half dozen or a dozen of arches before
Yep.
I landed on this video. And when I did, I got super emotional. I got choked up. The video is of him holding his niece going down the lake and smiling and just laughing. And she's got
Yeah.
this, bubbly laughter, and so does he. And it's a 10-second video, and his wife posted it the very weekend that I just finished screwing in his teeth. The reason why it was so powerful to me was I knew the inside story. No one else
Yeah.
watching that video would have known. This guy just had a screwed in set of teeth done on Friday. This is Saturday, and he's going down the lake with his mouth wide open. We all know that
Yeah.
no one's having their mouth wide open with a denture. And
Yep.
so it dawned on me what happens in this moment, especially with a young girl. And I have, about the time, my girls would have been 8 and 10. So similar to the age of the girl that's in his lap.
Mhm.
And I transported myself into his shoes, and I'm going, he's living in this moment with zero hesitation, full joy. It was a cloudy, ugly day. This guy was
Right.
laughing. He was fully immersed in this time with this, I think it was his niece.
Yeah.
So that's a moment he would never get back. And we all have those moments, right? Even that could just be a Monday night dinner with your spouse. And
Totally.
it dawned on me, this implant dentistry is about giving people back all of life's moments. So as they go through life, small, medium, large moments are for those who don't have to think about their teeth. But if you have to think about your teeth, those moments aren't there. And so I want to dedicate my life to helping my patients and a team rally around the cause of making sure everybody lives fully every one of life's moments. So
Yeah.
that's what implant dentistry does. To give you another quick story that I think I've shared with you before, that kind of gives me a little bit more. So you think, okay, that was a transformative moment for me. And I think repetition can do a lot for things, right? It can make you better at it, right? I
Yep.
think doing things more and more make you better at it, of
Yep.
course. But repetition can do another evil thing. And we need to be aware of it. But it can make us somewhat callous to the importance of maybe somebody who's going through this, that it's their only time. It's their one and only. I go
Yeah.
in every Monday, Tuesday, sometimes Wednesday, and do these surgeries for multiple patients. And for me, it's another Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday. Now, I try to always remember it's not, but it is, right? But for this patient, hopefully their one and done. And so
Yeah.
I had this gentleman, Mike Kelly. He stands out to me. He came in, and I've gotten permission to share his story, but he came into our practice for an implant info night. And has a curved back because he's got a broken vertebrae, and he's amputated from the knees down because he fell and broke his lower legs. And so he came to our office, and we do this information. We talk about dental implants, what we do, and the process, and it's just
Yeah.
basically an educational seminar. And he was there with his caretaker, and we could not get a 3D X-ray on him because of his spine and the way that his neck was. And it was a super bummer. Like, the machine kept bumping his shoulder, and we just couldn't get a clear image. Well, we can't diagnose where implants would go, and even if they would be a great candidate for this process, until we really know where the bone is. And so
Yeah.
we scheduled him for a consultation after that night. He came back, and when he came back, our team member tried again and couldn't get this 3D to work. and came and got me. And I'm thinking, man, I never take these 3D x-rays. So, I mean, I know I'm not skilled at this. I've taken it. Our team does an amazing job with it. And so I prepared myself to go into this room and tell this patient that, hey, I'm really sorry, Mike. I know you want this procedure done, and there's nothing I can do for you, man. I have to have this quality X-ray.
Yeah.
And so I walk into the room and I start this process of explaining this to me. And one thing I'll notice is that he's not looking me in the eyes, right? He's looking over here. And I'm explaining to him and say, hey, I'm really sorry, Mike. This isn't going to work out. And he goes, I'm going to stop you right there. And I'm like, okay, I've never had this before. And he's not looking at me. And I knew that he was, had a bad back. And I knew that he was an amputee. And he says, Dr. Olson, you're Innovative Dental. He said, I've done the research. He goes, this is really important to me. And that phrase, this is really important to me, at that moment wrecked me.
Mm.
And it did because what I hadn't realized is that I hadn't done everything possible to try to get an X-ray on this guy. I thought
Yeah.
our team did, right? I mean, they care, and so do I. But I was willing to just go without. I should have just been dying to try, right? Die trying,
Right. Right.
and I didn't. I could, and why? And I'm just being honest. This is embarrassing, but I think it's important for people to process this. It wasn't important enough to me. If it
Right.
was, I would have died trying to do it because that's how important it was to this guy. So
Yeah.
when he said it, I got welled up with tears in my eyes. It makes me emotional talking about it now. And I go, I'm going to die trying. I'm like, this guy just lit a
Yeah.
fire. He said, it's really this important to me. And I thought, of course it is. Cause he told me he used to be the life of the party. So now a little backstory on Mike. He used to be the life of the party, cut up, do all the jokes. He has
Yep.
broken teeth that are really infected. I mean, I'll probably share a photo if you want to share it on this
Yeah.
podcast, but
Be great.
can't eat foods. And I didn't share with you, he's blind. So this is a guy that the reason he's injured is because he's blind. He tripped and fell down the stairs, broke his vertebrae and his legs because of that.
Yep.
And this is also a guy who this has nothing to do with the way his smile is going to look. Honestly, if I
Right.
gave him two ugly teeth in there and he could eat, he'd probably be pretty happy. But it's really about the confidence for him to share and cut up and make jokes and live in the life's moment with his buddies at his retirement center, right? So
Yeah.
that's what he was telling me. He wants to go back to his retirement community with his friends and be the life of the party again. That's what this guy's motivated for. And so, sure enough, he convinced me to go try to make this happen. And what did we do? I kid you not, we took off both of his amputated, his prosthetic legs,
Prosthetics.
right? Yep, took off both of
Yeah.
his prosthetic legs. We positioned him in the chair in a way that he was in the most awkward position known to man. Had such a good heart about it, cutting up
Yeah.
jokes. And I kid you not, we got the X-ray, and I celebrate the fact that he's done with the surgery now. He's got his temps in. He's going to have an amazing smile. I can't wait to share his full story. But
Yeah.
I it's such a victory for him, but it's such a life lesson for us that do this work day in and day out to never be comfortable and complacent in the fact that this is monumental in the lives of our patients. It might be everything to them, but
Yeah.
it's another Monday or Tuesday for us. So we want to really come in with that type of energy and understanding that these people are suffering. What we offer is life transforming, and
Yeah.
what a blessing to be a part of. And so
Yeah.
that's a cool story, but there's going to be countless others as part of this partnership with Modus. I'm super stoked to be a part of it. I know we're going to change the world of dentistry. It's funny that I say that now because I haven't told you this, Pete, but Jackie, one of our hygienists, reminded me that when we originally wanted to go from our 10 op office to our now 30 op office, I told the team, I told them this because I'm a big dreamer. I said, guys, we're going to change the world of dentistry. And they all looked
Yeah.
at me like, what? I think Jackie probably got it quite a bit, but you met Jackie, I believe.
Yeah.
But I still believe it to this day. I just didn't know how.
Yeah.
And it's just constantly evolving. How can we as a team at Innovative Dental take this vision, partner with other people who are wanting to see the same thing happen? Because it's going to take an army. It's not just one or two people. And make this idea of transforming the way people view implant dentistry come to life. And I don't think it's fully been done yet. I think
Yeah.
there's a lot of great people trying, but I think there's some great opportunities there to really take this treatment to the next level. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks for sharing. Before we jump into Modus, I'll echo the story you shared with me about Mike. It hit me quite deeply on multiple levels. One, um, a recognition of the work that we do and how important it is to people's lives, and two, it as a leader at Modus and having the opportunity to work with many potential partners, some of which choose to partner with us and some of which choose not to. We may meet dozens, hundreds of people over the course of years, but for each one of those individuals, this may be the biggest decision that they make in their life.
Right.
And they are entrusting us for a moment in time with their life's work and just
Mhm.
how important that is. And are we going to rise to that occasion? And are we going to take it that seriously every time? And so it was a powerful story to me at many levels. So thanks for sharing it again.
Yeah, you bet.
So I'd love to transition to Modus.
Mhm.
You know, I think a lot of times when people think of partnership, they think, well, it's a great time to do it when I'm 3 years away from retirement.
Yeah.
Trying to figure out a strategy for exiting. Uh, this is clearly not the case with you. You're ramping toward the peak,
Yeah.
and you made this decision to partner with Modus and with Thurston.
Mhm.
I'd love to hear your story and
Sure.
how you got comfortable with that, because you have so much in front of you, whether it was with us or not, and
Mhm.
and you chose us.
Mhm. Well, I'd say that the idea of doing something in the industry that is world changing,
Yeah,
like I said earlier, that vision is impossible to do on your own.
yeah,
And so you're constantly looking for whether it's adding in the right partners, doctors, dental assistants, hygienists, front office. You're always trying to hire people to work with that can help achieve this vision of growing your practice, being better in your area of expertise. Whether hopefully
yeah,
that's implants if that's who our audience is, right? But
yeah,
yeah, that constant striving for growth, you quickly realize one of my definitely my epiphany is that I have to have a force of people that believe that way as well. So a lot of
mm,
that is me trying to convince our team and bring them along and encourage them in that idea. But the other big component is finding other people that know and are skilled and capable of far more than I am in areas that aren't my expertise
yeah,
that can help take a vision way further than I could on my own. And I feel like it's going to help push me and make me strive for doing bigger and better things to partner with like-minded people. Modus is definitely that. Their vision is aligned around exceptional patient care, doing things
yeah,
the right way, even though they're the hard way. And it's the people that ultimately you're partnering with.
yeah,
And I think that you mentioned this podcast being impactful for me. When I met Dr. Picos and Dana, and incredible people, but you've had them on the podcast, and I hear their full
yeah,
long format story, right? You hear
yeah,
their upbringing, the questions you've asked me,
yeah,
and you start to realize these are the people we're trusting with our life's work
yeah,
to partner in this amazing idea to do something far beyond what we could do on our own, with the expertise, the help of a group of people all with their unique skill sets. We know this to be true throughout our entire life, obviously, with
yeah,
sports, with marriages, with other relationships. Groups of people achieve way more. The synergistic effect of
yeah,
like minded people with the same vision, energy, excitement around something. When they rally around something, get out of the way, right? I mean,
yeah,
there's almost nothing they can't accomplish. And I feel that way. Ultimately, that's what happened when in discussion with Modus is I
yeah,
want to take my practice my ability to influence patients, my team, improve the world around me, watch implant dentistry become what I believe it can. I saw
Mhm.
a group of people that wanted to do that too. They
Yeah.
saw my skill sets as something that could be beneficial, and I see
Yeah.
theirs the same. And so, this true partnership of not somebody to come in and tell me how to do everything, but to partner along with me with what they're better at, and really iron sharpens iron. And so, I think
Yeah.
that that's what this group is about. We're going to have a bunch of exceptional dentists, surgeons, periodontists that are already exceptional in their field. And like you said,
Yeah.
they'll be successful with or without Modus. That's not the claim. The
Yeah.
claim is they're going to have more joy, more
Yeah.
impact, more success, more freedoms with this partnership than they would without.
Yeah.
And, as potential partners that I would have a conversation with, that would be the thing that I would be trying to encourage them in. And that is that nothing has to change except for
Yeah.
all the good things that can change.
Yeah.
And, the amount of support, ideas. I mean, think about it. It's all these people that are learning this field that is ever changing, always complicated, marketing, branding, reaching, how do we reach these patients?
Yeah.
And constantly sharing our inside understanding because we're all invested in each other's success. I
Yeah.
mean, that's amazing. This is not a weekend course that you're going to walk away from and go, sweet, now I've got it all figured out. We're going to be successful in implant full arch dentistry, right? This is
Yeah.
a partnership that you're going to literally have experts in all areas. I mean, if somebody wants to talk about YouTube, I'm an expert in YouTube. I can help you with that. I can help you get off the ground. I can give you ideas. But when it comes to experts in clinical zygomatic implants, I mean, my goodness, there's Dr. Picos couldn't find a better source, right?
Yeah.
And so we're going to have that type of partnership that starts filling in all of these areas of expertise that we need to be successful together. And
Yeah.
I'm confident we're going to be more successful together than we ever would by ourselves. And another huge component of it, it's more fun sharing success with other people. And I fully believe in this idea. Obviously, otherwise I wouldn't have put my life's work into it. It
Yeah.
was, there's no amount of money worth giving up this vision. So
Yeah.
I would say to anybody going, well, hey, Dr. O, why would you have partnered with them? It wasn't for money. This partnership is about the vision that I know this partnership is about the vision I know we're aligned with.
Yeah.
And I know it's going to happen sooner and better than I would do it ever on my own. So
Man, that was great. I think this is I couldn't think of a better way to stop. That's such a good way to wrap it up. I would echo back to you, Grant. I mean, even in the short period of time that we've had to work together, you have been just the ideal partner. Humble, willing to learn, always willing to share ideas. And I think that's what makes Modus a special place. We have a family of people that are excellent in their craft, yet have the humility to realize there's more. There's more growth for all of us. And that's what I'm so excited about as our family grows and we extend the community to more and more experts in their craft.
yeah,
Well,
absolutely.
hey, thanks for the afternoon.
Yeah. Thanks so much. This has been exciting, fun
Yeah.
sharing my past, going trip down memory lane. And man, I couldn't be more excited about this partnership as well. I know it's just the start of a new beginning. My wife will tell you I'm even more excited than I was before, which is obviously, you made the right decision when you're waking up more
Yeah.
invigorated and excited to see what the future holds. So thanks for letting me be a part of it. And I'm super thrilled with, your leadership and excited to see where we take this thing.
Yeah. Hey, thanks so much.
Cool.
Appreciate you.
All right.
Thanks for listening to Community Conversations. This podcast is powered by Modis Dental Partners, an organization dedicated to supporting dental professionals with cutting-edge technology and continuing education opportunities through the Picos Institute. If you enjoyed what you heard, follow Community Conversations wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. See you next time.